We ready? Good. Sure, okay. I think they're ready. Okay, all right, welcome everybody to our May meeting. Can I get I need a motion to approve the April 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Kara, second. Second, Jim Sim. Okay. Before we go much further, and I will get our guest to introduce herself, but I just want to take this opportunity to thank Lisa Potter Rawls. This is going to be her last meeting with us. She is resigning, and she will not be obviously putting in for her next term, because I think her term is up this year.
I think it's a next year, actually.
Oh, you're not gonna stick around. We've already gone over this. So, she's gonna resign, and, this will be the last meeting. And I just wanna take this moment and thank her for all the hard work, the excellent minutes that she maintains and makes us look good and always corrects me because I'm always wrong. But, you know, she does a wonderful job. She's a good sounding board, and I always, I always know who to turn to when I need to be corrected, and I appreciate everything
Everyone.
that she's done.
I've really enjoyed my time here so much.
And Terry has brought in some cakes and stuff, fruit, and it's on the table out here. If anybody wants to take a little break, go grab a piece of cake, and we'll start in a couple minutes. But, you know, we're gonna miss you.
It's nice.
We're gonna miss you.
Oh, always the last, no.
It's just been an emotional day thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be good. In the interim, we've asked Terry, if she would fill in as secretary for this time being. We have elections coming up in June for secretary and chairman, so, and who knows?
And thank you, Terry. Thank you for doing this. You did a great job.
So anyways, that's where we're at. If anybody wants cake now during the meeting, help yourself now. If not, we'll move forward. So. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Thank you.
Now, okay, citizen input, we have a guest, so we will. Maddie, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'll just speak to you from this back.
Come on.
Perfect.
There's
It's
your,
too long, so
there's your PowerPoint if you
it's
want that.
perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, well, I'm Maddie with American Company, so I've been talking to Barry for, I don't know, a couple months. I don't know if it's been a
Well,
year.
basis.
Yeah, time flies,
Yeah.
I guess. But so, yeah, I just reached out to him and, sent him some information on what our company does and what we've been doing kind of in the Portland area and the Northwest. And it sounded like there might be a site in town that you're kind of throwing some ideas around for. And, maybe a bike park or a pump track could be a good option. So it really worked out. I'm in town for the Washington Parks and Rec Conference, which is up in Vancouver. So I've been in the area today doing some sidewalks over at Sandy, which I have some photos in here. You probably saw the renderings for that. So our team mobilized the site this week to start on that project. So really timing was just perfect. So glad I could be here in person. Usually I do these virtually, and I'm headquartered in Missouri. So usually it's like my bedtime and I'm like kind of halfway in my pajamas and giving a presentation.
Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, it's fun to be here in person, but we can just flip through these slides. Feel free, like if you have any questions, just interrupt me. I just put a lot of pictures together and this is, more just to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page with what these facilities are. A lot of times we use terms like pump tracks and bike parks, and people have a lot of different ideas on what that means. So it's good just to kind of have a base understanding. So moving forward, if this is a project you want to consider, who the user group is, some costs, kind of what your neighbors have done and what the trends are. So, all that say, any
Metal park that we talked
Yes.
before, okay, that's what I thought.
And,
All right.
and just a little, I took Maddie down to the Honda pits, or down to the police station, so she's had a,
Sticks out there.
we had.
Yeah.
They were hard to pump. But, just to get a look, I mean, we do have that property, it's sitting vacant right now, and we've always talked about what could we do. Doesn't mean that we're gonna do it right away, I mean, we do have a lot of things on our plate, but this was a good option. And a few people have talked to us before about pedal parks or skate parks, well, pump tracks, and so Maddie reached out, sent information. We're just bringing it to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I told this to Barry, but I was up in Ridgefield this morning, Ridgefield, Washington, and I told him I was coming here tonight, and their parks maintenance manager, he said, oh, I love Canby. That's kind of like our sister city, if I had to, put it that way, same vibe. They really respect what you guys have done here with your parks, and they're considering a pump track and a bike park, and they knew they wanted a pump track. They knew nothing beyond that, and had some concepts put together. And after I met with them, they're going to change some direction because they just didn't know, like they didn't know what questions to ask. So luckily we had a meeting early enough that they can make the changes they need to have a good facility. So that's why this meeting is great, because, like Barry said, it doesn't mean you're doing this project, but at least you'll have all the information so you can plan appropriately, and you're not backtracking, when you've already got budgets set. And so, yeah, just really informative. So we'll just flip through these, but American Ramp Company. So we refer to these facilities as action sports parks. So that would be, you can go to the next slide. So, oh yeah, I didn't realize that was right here. Perfect. Okay, so American Ramp Company, just a little bit of history. We turned 25 this year, so big year for us. We were founded by Nate Emo, who's in the top right corner. So he's an avid skater. He started the company out of his garage, just building some skate ramps. And now we've evolved to, this massive action sports company that's, worked in 45 plus countries, 3,500 projects. So what we do is we design and build action sports parks. So again, that's skate parks, bike parks, and pump tracks. And then John Hunter, he's our CEO. They're the bottom right corner. So Nate's really kind of like the skater, John's the biker. So those are kind of the two captains leading the charge of the company. But here's just some photos. So what's a skate park, bike park, pump track? So top left corner, this is just kind of your standard concrete skate park idea. Top right, this is going to be an asphalt pump track. Here's an above ground skate park that we do. So this is like a prefab metal skate park. This middle photo, this would be a bike park, but it is a dirt option. And then the bottom left is also a bike park, but it is an asphalt option. So
The dirt, where's this at?
So this is located in Thousand Oaks, California, which is Calabasas next door. So this is the Stockweed Bike Park.
So they have a direct line, and dirt works better there, is that okay?
Yeah. And so kind of mentioning back to the original project, so they were originally looking at doing dirt pump track.
Ridgefield was?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. So that's when I talked to them this morning. We started talking about the climate and the maintenance. And I just said, it's cheaper up front, but you're paying for it on the back end. And they were pretty receptive to that. So yeah, all this to show in this photo is ARC, like we offer every option for each one of these parks. So again, whether it's concrete skate park or above ground metal skate park, asphalt bike park, dirt bike park, all build methods, we have crews specializing in that work.
So, what's their dirt like up there?
In Ridgefield, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't, the site hasn't been touched, it's similar to yours.
because that's what I saved 20,000.
Okay, huh?
Yeah, I stockpiled it, because I was hoping to, if we did do this, I could use that, or do dirt, but berries against dirt. But it dries out so fast, and it's, I just
Yeah.
didn't know if that's a bad way to go.
Yeah,
Or we can follow up later.
Yeah, there's the right compaction, so it probably needs a blend of some sand, I just don't know what that split is. Or
See, my only concern is that it would wash out, and then you'd have to repair it. You know, I wouldn't wanna, everybody says, we don't have enough. Our maintenance crew is overworked anyways. I'd hate to have them go through and repair it all the time, so.
Yep, so just a quick informative slide on, so above ground skate parks, what does that look like? These are the two options that we offer. So the Pro Series is the all metal skate park, so that has a 20-year warranty. Galvanized steel, municipal grade. Maintenance looks like repainting the surface every couple of years. I know you guys have a concrete skate park, so this slide might not be totally relevant, but the bottom right, this is called like a skate light surfacing. So more traditional, if you've ever seen skateboarding on TV where they set up ramps, they use this skate light material. It deteriorates a lot quicker and is a lot more maintenance. But some skaters prefer it and some communities prefer that. So we offer an option for both. And then obviously the concrete skate parks, this was a project we finished up 2 years ago in Montauk, New York. This is about a 20,000 square foot skate park. You'd be looking at about $1.2 to $1.5 million to do a park this size.
Have you been to that?
I have not been to this park.
What's with the big rocks?
Yeah, so these rocks, we actually found these while doing like the grading for the site.
Yeah.
And so our builders actually incorporated these rocks as skatable features. So they did grind them down and they're smooth, but just try to use it strategically, for some of that landscaping for erosion. And the thing about skate parks is if you can add unique elements, skaters remember that stuff. So they're always gonna be like, oh yeah, that skate park with the boulders. These photos here on the right, this is actually from a park in Utah. So again, we found these boulders on site, kind of made the steps out of the boulders, incorporated just some cool features that skaters can ollie over. So just kind of getting creative with the materials we find and just add those kind of customized unique touches. And then we'll get into bike parks. I think maybe you guys have been referring to the pedal park, but kind of all the same concept. So this main photo here, this is actually about an hour from our office down in Rogers, Arkansas. So this is the Rail Yard Bike Park. This would probably be one of the most famous bike parks in the country. And this park was originally a dirt surface park and it was closed. The whole park was only open like 3% of the year. So with weather, they were constantly having to close different lines, close different sections. So they actually had to come back in, make a small hard surface, and now the park is open 99% of the year, other than when it snows. So this would be a great example when we're talking bike park. This kind of has all the elements. It has a jump line, it has a flow course, it has a kids bicycle playground with a small concrete pump track. So a bike park can mean a lot of things. Like a pump track is a part of a bike park. A jump line is part of a bike park. So that just kind of helps when you guys are discussing these. How big is it? That is a great question. I want to say it's 4 acres.
Okay.
For the whole park. And yeah, to do something like this, you would be, $2 million north.
How big is the under fixture? It's under 3, isn't it? What was 8?
I did too.
I'll have to go back.
I just told him to eat.
Well, I did both sides. It was 3 on one side and 5 on the other then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 8, so.
There's a stormwater pond, you saw.
Yeah, actually, that's.
I have it, I can look. So you know.
But I'll just say, so these kind of photos on the right, again, this is just showing, okay, here's a dirt version, like a dirt jump line. This again within California, Southern California. And then here are the bike park features that we also manufacture through our shop. So we try to incorporate these sustainable steel frame, wood framework features where we can, which would be important here where it rains a lot. So trying to find, instead of doing a dirt berm, okay, can we use a manufactured berm? And we just finished up a park up in Mercer Island, just outside of Seattle. And we used a ton of these features, as well as, theirs was more of a dirt style park, so there is some maintenance, but we incorporated a lot of these features.
Real with the background over there where the dirt one is.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that, it's like right outside Los Angeles, yeah, we drive.
Pretty dry.
And a portion of these parks can be ADA accessible, right?
Yep.
I mean, not everything. Good portion.
Yeah, yep, and I might have a photo on the pump track slide, so, but I will come back to that part of the ADA. One other aspect of the bike park I wanted to talk to you guys about is bicycle playground. So this is a new concept, we actually invented this idea. So literally just think of a playground but for bicycles. So there was kind of a gap between these advanced bike parks, mountain bike trail, and then what do you do with the kiddos on Strider bikes? Like, where are you gonna send them to learn those skills that they're gonna encounter on the trail? So we started designing and building these bicycle playgrounds. Obviously, this one's in Colorado, tried to keep it, an outdoorsy theme to blend in with the rest of the park. We can do custom tunnels that are fun colors. Again, this was in Arkansas. It was in a bike park next to an airport. So we got this old Huey helicopter, turned it into a feature they can ride through. Yeah, so just try, again, this is where we could get really fun, really colorful. If Canby's known for anything, like, great, let's try to make that a feature that kids can ride through and get excited about. Okay, and then here's the pump tracks. So this is probably, I'd say behind pickleball courts, like pump tracks is one of the most requested things that we're hearing from parks departments. So when you think of a pump track, maybe originally think of like a BMX track, and that's how it started. So you have these rollers that you're pumping through and these berms that you're riding to pick up speed. The difference between a BMX track and a pump track is BMX, you're racing from start to finish. So there's a start gate and then a finish line. A pump track is a closed circuit. So once you get on the track, in theory, you could pump around it for forever until you just decide to hop off. So that's kind of where pump tracks originated, was BMXing, but they've now kind of turned into a more, inclusive park feature that anyone can use. The great thing about asphalt, and again, for your guys' climate, is maintenance. So dirt, good rule of thumb is I'd say 10% of your budget to build your dirt park, 10% each year is the expected cost. So if you have a $200,000 dirt pump track, I'd say 20 grand a year to keep it up to that pristine, level that it needs to be at. Versus asphalt, your maintenance is gonna be mowing, the infills and the outslopes, and we can even do sustainable landscaping like we did here. So this is just a rubberized asphalt material. We've done artificial turf. So if you want to truly, like, as maintenance free as possible, there's solutions. To bring it back to Barry's point about the adaptive use option. So these two photos are from our park in Fort Angeles, and I could share a video with you all. We did with the community members and some of the adaptive use riders, just talking about how that park came to be. But they actually have two tracks at their site. So they have a main track, and then we did a separate adaptive use track that also doubled as like the beginner or the kids track. So for the grand opening, we had Jeremy McGee, who's here in the right corner. He came out for that event. We also had Wheels. So if you've ever seen Nitro Circus, Wheels had like the lime green wheelchair. He was up on, I think, America's Got Talent the last couple of years. So just a really exciting guy to be in this industry. So he came out for that grand opening. And again, there's a really great video to show. But you'll also notice this track is kind of wet. So as soon as we cut the ribbon, classic, it started pouring rain. And I thought, oh my goodness, I hope nobody wrecks on this because it's raining and there's 500 kids rushing the site. I did not see one kid flip out from the track being slick. So there are some people who are doing concrete pump tracks as a hard surface option. In this climate, I would not recommend that because concrete will get slick when it gets wet. And I don't need to go into all the details, but concrete's going to create less friction with a bike tire. So you can go faster on concrete, which means you need taller berms. And you need to make sure it's, not wet, doesn't have dust on it, because you're going faster, there's more risk. So asphalt, there's a little bit more friction, so not as fast as concrete. But the big thing is you have that traction, so if it does get wet, there's really no concerns from the rider perspective. Also, concrete's about twice as expensive as asphalt, so, you're thinking half the track for the budget that you guys have.
I think repair costs on that twelve are cheaper too.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So concrete, if there's any cracking, really the only proper way to fix concrete is to cut out sections and re-pour it versus asphalt. You can do some patching and manipulation, so. And another thing too, these are all photos of people on bikes, but these tracks that we build, it's a special blend of asphalt. So don't think of like what's out on the road, kind of that rough surface with potholes. Again, we use a special blend and it's all hand poured and hand compacted. So it's actually really smooth. So skaters can use this, scooters love them, rollerbladers, there's a big movement in rollerblading with pump tracks. So that's another benefit of doing asphalt is, yes, it's preferred by bikers, but it can be used truly by all wheel types. Okay, and so here's a good example of like an all-wheel park that we finished up last year. So this again is in Bluffdale, Utah. So you can see here, we did the concrete skate park with the bowl. We did an asphalt surface bicycle playground. And it is kind of hard to tell on this photo, but Bluffdale, we made a big V and turned it on its side. So that's actually like a little column that the kids can ride through with that V. And then the city is also known for equestrian. So we made the arches that they ride through are actually horseshoes. So again, those bicycle playgrounds, like that's just a time when we can be creative, make a fun space for kids. So you'll see that. And then we also have the asphalt pump track, which is kind of conjoined with the skate park. So this creates a facility that you can truly flow between. So skaters, they can hit the bowl, hop out, hop onto the pump track, bikers too. We have one of those manufactured wall rides I was showing earlier. And then we also did the dirt jump line next to that. So you can see the photo down here with our manufactured feature. Oh, you can kind of see the horseshoes back here, this bottom right corner. So, and I mean, these photos, right? Like that's what we love. That's what we build these parks for. Skate parks, bike parks sometimes get a bad rap that, oh, it's teenagers and, young adults who are going to take over the park and it's not going to be an inviting space for everyone. That is not the case that we're seeing with parks we're building now, because we're trying to create spaces that, okay, there is a kid zone. There are beginner features that are inviting to all users. And so we've really seen just every community member out enjoying these facilities. Moms, grandparents love them. I mean, if you go to a pump track at 11 o'clock in the morning, you'll probably see 15 kids, with the moms out there using the facility. So kind of fun. And then, so here's the project that I mentioned that we kicked off this week. So this is over in Sandy, Oregon. So we're doing kind of an all-wheel park for them. So concrete skate park, asphalt pump track, and then an asphalt jump line as well. So the skate park is 20,000 square foot. The pump track combined is 20,000 square foot, and then the jump line is about 1,200 linear foot.
Well, how big is that area?
Yeah, it's very active. I want to say it probably spanned, so an acre is 40,000 square foot. So all in probably an acre, but it's really long and spread out. So I had to guess, I'd say it, big 3 acres of space.
Jerry told me, he just corrected me, we're looking at about 3.5
Okay,
acres.
okay.
When I thought it was.
If you take out the pond and parking lot.
Okay.
Drainage usable.
Usable, okay. Yeah, and I'll double check on Google. I might be overstating. I was just out there today. It's huge. This was an old football field, like the whole area. So it's a pretty big space. But yeah, I know 20,000. So to do a park like this, you would be, I would budget 2.5 million for a park like this.
You might do stuff.
But not all parks have to be this big, right? So, you know, you could easily do a 10,000 square foot skate park, a 10,000 square foot pump track.
Well, couldn't we add on to, I mean, couldn't we like start with
Like a
something
phased
basic
approach.
and then, yeah, phase.
Yep, and originally that's how we designed this park, so it was supposed to be a 10,000 square foot skate park. So it actually cut off right here. And they only had this section, and their council went ahead and decided, you know what, we want this to be a regional or a national park, so we're gonna find the funding, but the original approach was a phased, here's how much we have for phase one, but go ahead and design us phase two. Sure.
Which part? Is there a lot of parking for this, or is it like a?
Yeah, I don't have photos up here, so the parking is gonna be up in this space. And so how this one is working, the city actually hired a general contractor to do all of the site work, so clearing and grubbing, grading, utilities. And the GC is also doing the parking. And then they hired ARC separately to do the specialty work. So I'm not positive on how many spaces, but if I had to guess, I would say 30,
Okay,
yeah.
and are you guys on like some sort of pricing or some national contract where? Okay,
Yep, so we're on Sourcewell.
oh,
Which is the main one.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will say there's no
That's-
other,
sounds, excuse you guys for Sourcewell.
so they did go out to bid for our scope. Sourcewell is great, but it's kind of how your procurement department wants to interpret the law, I guess.
Yep,
It's a gray enough area that you could go either way. This one was like, hey, we just want to go out to bid. However, there's no other company building parks like this. So yeah, there are skate park companies, there are bike park companies. There is no company doing all of this in-house under one roof. And there's no company who's actually done a combination skate park contract with asphalt and concrete. So they had to go out to bid, but no one else was even had the qualifications to bid on it. So
Okay.
yeah, ARC was the only company. And we did the design for this park as well. So the design, now we're on to the build.
Do people bring in like gazebos and seating and everything, so parents can watch their kids?
Yep, that was kind of the intent with this site, and this photo back here. Well, maybe go back to try to maybe show you a little bit. So up here, this is actually a higher elevation. And so the intent is to use this whole slope as a spectator viewing area. We're not bringing in any like seating per se. It's just gonna be a natural, bring your blankets, your lawn chairs. But it's a really cool site. This is kind of a little lookout spot, so you can actually see down, very similar to your guys' site,
Yeah.
where you have that elevation. So, that's their plan.
With that driveway, as you go down, there's a slope and it would be almost like a natural amphitheater where you could sit in there and see out over.
And very similar to what you were telling me, you know, Sandy, this park down south of this image, there's a trail network that connects through the woods and down to Sandy River. So, kind of a lot of similarities to what you were telling me, which was really cool. Yeah.
Terry, where would you put parking there?
well, I mean, the police station, we built that parking lot down below and then maybe add some along that, you know, along that stormwater swale in the front or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's in the city and it's got utilities and everything's there, so that's a huge advantage.
People are riding their bikes there, so it's not as much parking, I would think.
Yeah, and
Yeah, maybe, huh, just
Yeah.
kids zipping
if
down
it's
there.
a community, yeah, you know, they can get to it easily. I will say a lot of these parks I showed you were, you know, multi-million-dollar parks, which is great, but like realistically, you know, you have to find that funding somewhere. So I don't want you to think like, well, if we don't have $2 million, we can't do this. We would recommend for a pump track, I say 10,000 square foot minimum. And it's really gonna come down to like, what are the goals of this park? So if you're looking for a regional or a national park, like, yeah, you might need multi-million dollars. But if it's like, we just want a park for our community, like, we don't care about bringing people in. Okay, you probably don't need a facility like this. So it's kind of, what are the goals of the park? And then we can help guide, okay, here's what you would need to serve those users. But a 10,000 square foot pump track, minimum size I'd recommend, to do a track like that, you're at about $400,000. 10,000 square foot skate park, again, probably the minimum, you go a little bit smaller, but I like round numbers, so I recommend that size. You're probably 600 to 700,000 to do a park like that. So again, all of those we can go smaller, so if the city says, okay, we wanna do this, but our all-in budget is 800,000. Okay, well, we do design and build, so then what we would do is say, okay, our not to exceed is 800,000. Let's start doing community engagement and design the park that's gonna meet your budget. So,
Right.
and I mean, we've done parks as, low as 250,000. So whatever the number is, we can come up with a solution. It's just, like I said, what are the goals of the park and managing expectations?
Anybody else have any additional questions for me?
Anyway, and the pump track,
Uh-huh.
you're talking about like the asphalt would probably be the best and everything.
Yeah.
What's like resurfacing that, like what's the lifetime?
Yeah, so we recommend, it's gonna depend on like normal wear and tear and how much use you're getting, but we'd say probably every 5 to 7 years resurface the track. It does come with a 1-year warranty, so if anything happens in that year, we'll send a crew out, address any concerns. I will say, as far as I know, every track we've done, we take a lot of pride in the brand of this track, and we don't want a faulty track out there, so I've even seen tracks go over the warranty that will still come back and make it right, and, like I said, we care about the brand and your user group, so I can send you guys a list of, asphalt pump tracks we've done in the Pacific Northwest, I think it's around a dozen. There's one up in Gateway Green Bike Park in Portland. Again, Sandy's gonna be done, here by the end of the year. And then, more central Oregon, we have a few in Washington.
You guys did the bike track, like it's by Mall 205, it's Gateway.
Yep, the Gateway Green. So if you know the bike features out there, those are our manufactured ramps. They have a really great bike community who's reworked some of those jumps, but the asphalt pump track, that's our Velo Solutions brand asphalt track.
Did you say there was one out in Bend?
Yep, it's at Big Sky Park, so they just finished that up.
Yeah, this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Check it out.
Yeah, If you go to, work a little bit to Redmond, we have a really famous pump track in Redmond right off the highway. And then we actually just went into contract with the city of Culver, north of there, to do an asphalt pump track.
Do you know where the one in Redmond was?
I can send it to you, if you literally just Google Redmond pump track, it's like, it pops up, it's right off the highway.
I think it's right off the right.
And that's probably like